Yeah.
Excited?
And of course, oh wow, sideboard 4 Leyline of Sanctity. We'll see if that one pays off.
Michael Caffrey playing Blue-White Stoneblade, my deck of choice. Actually, Michael Caffrey was created when they attempted to clone Gabriel Nassif.
Wow, and the it seems like it's done a fairly good job.
Yeah. He's playing the best deck. What I believe to be the best deck. All right, Brennan on the play. Scalding Tarn for turn 1, cracks it, and probably going to grab an Underground Sea.
And he does. Beautiful signed Rob Alexander Underground Sea.
Underground Sea, one of the prettiest cards ever.
Thoughtseize.
And Thoughtseize.
Well, that's a good start.
Very good start.
Exactly the start he wants. And we see that Michael has kept a hand of 2 Mishras, a Fetch, an Island, 1 Brainstorm,
and
Snapcaster, and a Swords.
Very reasonable hand to keep against a deck that you don't know what it is.
Definitely. And the Brainstorm will be undoubtedly the card that gets picked here.
Yes.
It's by far the best card in the hand, and 2/1 body, not relevant. Swords to Plowshares, also not relevant. Brainstorm to the bin.
Yeah, let's see what Michael Caffrey peels off the top.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Michael Caffrey, you're not too excited about that opening from Brennan, because you know there's a really strong possibility that he could be on combo.
And Brennan choosing not to combo out on turn 2. Probably does not have the tools to do so.
Probably not.
Scalding Tarn on a pass for him.
He could probably try, but it would be risky.
And Brennan has a lot of different options here. End step, I like the play of Brainstorm. Yep.
Seems pretty reasonable.
With the fetch land there. That's a good Brainstorm.
Yeah.
And with all of that, he probably can kill his opponent the next turn.
Yeah, he'll certainly try. This Brainstorm sets it up really well. We'll see if he uses his fetch. He does. Get a set of fresh cards on the top of his deck. And unless his opponent has drawn something like a Force of Will or another counterspell, he's going to be in really good shape. Do you think Storm is one of the hardest decks to play in Legacy?
I think a lot of people think it's very hard. I don't think it's that hard. I don't know. I've played Storm decks on and off throughout the years, and
yeah,
I never really thought it was that much in difficulty where I didn't know what all the fuss was about.
It's a pretty technical skill.
If you play a lot of combo, it's different than playing most Magic decks.
Right.
So
that's definitely true. Well, I mean, Legacy is really different than playing most formats, too.
Yeah. Here, main phase Brainstorm. That's pretty ambitious. I mean, it depends what he has in his hand, but...
Right, he probably would love to find a fetch land. He preordained previous to that, putting 1 on top, 1 on bottom, so these 3 cards with Brainstorm were new cards he had not seen before. Just plays a fetch and passes the turn.
Counting his graveyard, a little bit of a tell there that he has Cabal Ritual in his hand. Depending on what he put on the top of his deck, he... Ooh, what is this?
I am not sure what card that is. I don't know what that could be. I'm looking at the deck list.
Mage, maybe?
It's something that's altered for sure, and if it costs 2 mana, that's all it could be. So he's
choosing not to wait a turn and get a Brainstorm with that.
Feels like he needs a little pressure against this blue-black deck. So he'll attack for 5, 4, and then a pump from the Mishra's Factory.
Yep.
Dropping Brennan to 11. Wants to limit Brennan's life total as much as possible. Brennan.
And I mean, it's nice that he would duress.
Duress sees that the coast is clear. Yep. Swords to Plowshares to the graveyard.
And Brennan has Threshold now, so Cabal Ritual.
Yeah, and this should
a lot of work here.
This should just be a piece of cake for the Storm player.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has Dark Ritual and Cabal Ritual in hand.
Right. Infernal Tutor.
So Infernal Tutor, he can just...
He'll drop to 10 life from the fetch land, getting a basic swamp. And now he'll start the Ritual Chain. 3 mana.
Dark Ritual.
5 mana.
Eight mana.
I'm glad you were ready for that math. I would have had to use my fingers there. So up to 8 mana.
Adding 3.
Up to 4 storm, 5 storm, Thoughtseize. Discards the other swords, leaves Michael with nothing but land, and this will be an Infernal Tutor.
An Infernal Tutor. Even
Yeah.
with 5 mana.
Yeah, 5
Do you know
floating.
what costs 5 mana?
I think I do. Is it Batterskull?
No. It's not Karn Liberated.
Jeez. I guess the only other card it could be is Ad Nauseam.
Yeah.
Wow. The namesake of the deck. That's what... Oh, he's looking at the ill-gotten gains here.
Oh, well, I mean...
That would work, too. That would be fine.
I mean, he doesn't have an LED, right?
No, he doesn't. But he has 5 mana, so that would leave him with 1. And he knows his opponent doesn't have a Force of Will in the graveyard and is tapped out. So there will be no downside to the ill-gotten gains. We'll cast that, returning 2 rituals and an Infernal Tutor. And that's 6 storm. So that should be exactly enough. 1, 2, 3 is 9 spells.
Yep, and then he can search library for tendrils and kills opponent.
Yep.
That's actually just safer.
Yeah, it is.
For the Ad Nauseam.
Either way probably would have guaranteed a win, but this way there's no risk. Because Ad Nauseam, he could easily just flip a 2-drop, a 2-drop, a 2-drop, a 2-drop, and die. And a tendrils.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And there it is.
And tendrils. And Michael, dead.
Michael will pack in his 6 lands, pack in his Snapcaster, and realize that he's dead.
Brennan ending that game at 28 life.
Not bad. Not a bad life total. Gabriel Nassif reaches for his sideboard, realizes this match will get a lot better for him after boarding.
Definitely.
He's going to get 4 Leyline of Sanctity, 3 Surgical Extraction. So a full 7 hate cards, and he will easily have a lot of cards to side out. He'll easily be able to side out Wrath of God, Swords to Plowshares, that's 5. Easily be able to side out one of his 2 equipment, probably the GT.
GT not a great card against Ad Nauseam.
No. The life gain, though, it definitely can be relevant. For example, that game, Brennan would have had to go for Ad Nauseam, giving Michael the chance to mize a win with some bad flips.
The chance that he lost that game if he goes for Ad Nauseam,
it's
less
really
than
low.
5%.
Yeah, it's really low, but that's something. That's I mean, that's rolling a 1 on a D20. Not unreasonable.
I guess that's fine. I mean, you gotta have just something better than GT though, right? I think I'd rather just have Elspeth even than GT.
Yeah.
Just close the gap faster.
I think he'll just have so many cards to side out that he won't have enough cards to side in. In fact, 4 swords, a Wrath, those are easy ones. 1 equipment, Factor Fiction.
Factor Fiction could stay in if he wants it, but
yeah, the chances of him
I'd
getting
like him to keep it in just because I want to see Factor
just to
Fiction
see
cast.
Foff. Yeah, that would be great. And then for
There's
Brennan,
another skill testing card.
Foff, yeah. Brennan DeCandio, Karn Liberated, Dark Confidants, Ghastly Demises. Nothing else that's going to be too useful here. Probably just the Confidants will be the main thing.
Yeah, and if Michael sideboards out all of his removal, Confidant can just steal the game all by itself.
Right. Michael will still have Spell Snare for it. He'll still have Force of Will. He'll still have Counterspell and Mana Leak. But if Dark Confidant can somehow get under Counter Magic, say through a first turn Dark Ritual, yeah, that'll be really strong. Do you think this match favors Brennan in general?
I would say so. You never really want to play. You never really want to play against the combo deck when you're the Blue White Stoneblade deck. When you're playing against decks that are, attempting to play a game of Magic.
Right.
You kind of have room to outpilot anybody, and the games will really come down to like play skill and patience and things like that. When you're playing against a combo deck, it's really draw dependent, and that's not really where you want to be when you've chosen to be piloting like the best deck.
Right, a difficult deck to play too.
Yes.
Draft open players. Your round 3.
I don't care what
difficult to play, but forgiving.
Once again,
That's true.
players.
Turn 2 Stone
Your
Forge
round
Mystic
3
is just
players.
game over against a lot of decks. And actually, Michael's playing a card that's been creeping into more and more blue-white lists, Geist of State Draft.
And,
Sort of took a little while to catch on, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I use Geist of St. Trap in my sideboard. I think it's, you know, I used to think that it was impossible to beat a Punching Fire when I was playing my blue-white deck, and I saw somebody cast a Geist of St. Trap, and I'm not yet willing to let go of my Spell Stutter sprites. I actually like 2 Spell Stutter Sprite in the main of this deck, but
That's a card a lot of people don't like.
I think it's really good.
Do you play Riptide Lab?
I do play Riptide Lab.
I think you have to if you're playing Spell Stunner.
Definitely. I mean, that's why it's good.
Right.
And the Riptide Lab with Snapcaster are also very good.
And again, only having 1 copy, it doesn't really matter because you can find it so easily in a deck with Brainstorms.
I play 3.
3? Oh my
I
god.
also play 25 land though.
Okay, well, you're crazy.
Not
You're
really. You
crazy.
just cut all the cards that are like random.
Well,
You only need a Batterskull's equipment.
with
I don't play the Jitte. Like, if you have multiple Stoneforges, you just brainstorm it away and then just search up again.
I completely agree
Chase
that
it away.
people don't play enough land in Standard, people don't play enough land in Legacy. Every format. And when half of your lands are really spells, you can play as many as you want, really.
Yeah.
So here they are. Michael opens up with a turn 1 Leyline and a Caracas.
Crux is a pretty cool card.
Yeah, pretty powerful.
Very powerful.
Brennan just counters with Island. And Michael has his 1 mana leak in hand. So this is a much better draw from him. He's a lot more prepared this game than he was last game.
It's going to be difficult for Brennan to really battle through Leyline and Mana Leak. Michael writes a column on Star City about Legacy. Knows what he's doing. Playing one of the top decks of the format. I'd say, you know, there are 2 Clawblades in Legacy, and this is one of them.
And the other?
Rug Delver.
Right.
Brennan, again, using Brainstorm correctly.
You know, I'm not sure I like that Brainstorm, just because I don't know if there's any reason to really use it yet, because Brennan knows this game's probably going to go pretty long.
You can kind of wait until you have everything you need to go off, and then you just right before you're going to die, you look for an answer for the ley line, and if you find one, you win, and if you don't, you lose.
Exactly. Exactly. So end of turn. Michael will use this fetch land.
Grabbing a Tundra.
Yep. Yeah, both players in this match really, at this point in the game, don't have any need to do anything but develop their hands. Because they both know this game will go fairly long. And Michael casts a Vendilion Click.
So, Vendilion Click, going to get a peek at Brennan's hand here.
If you signed up for Standard Window
They'll
Box
see the
number
Chain of Vapor.
4. Standard Window Box number 4. Please head to the red side of its banner.
And when is he doing this? End step?
I believe this is end
Standard
step.
Window Box number 4. Please head to the red side of
I
its
hope so.
banner.
Yeah.
Against the Storm deck, you don't want to be draw stepping.
No, definitely not. Wow, Chain of Vapor is the ley line. Michael's just going to untap and recast that. So Brennan has a pretty good hand. He has 2 ritual effects, though no threshold. A Thoughtseize, Ill-Gotten Gains, Infernal Tutor, Lotus Petal.
I mean, he basically has what he needs to win.
He does. It's really unfortunate that Thoughtseize can't target Michael, because he really needs one more card in hand, both for Threshold and to activate the Hellbent on that Infernal Tutor.
And his ill-gotten gains will be. It's just very awkward, this hand now.
Yeah, it really is.
The one Thoughtseize being stuck in your hand is
that leyline is
problem.
Yeah, that leyline is really unfortunate.
He may have to target himself with Thoughtseize.
Yeah. Discard Ill-Gotten. Brennan's
well, you
base.
need to Ill-Gotten to get back the chain, right?
Yeah, you probably have to.
It's hard.
He will have 2 chains after board too.
So you can tutor for it.
Yep. So now that Michael has a Caracas and a Vendilion Click.
Was that not an end step? I certainly hope it was.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what phase we're in or who has priority. It looks like Michael, the way he's tanking right now.
Okay, so they were getting Oracle text on a card.
Okay. So it was the end step. Now Michael untaps. Attacks with Vendilion, dropping Brennan to 16.
And a land and a leyline is activated.
And there it is. So Brennan basically took the risk there that Michael didn't have another land, or he was fine with him tapping out. Lion's Eye is a pretty good draw here.
That's a really good draw.
One of the best.
He can probably win now. Do we know if Michael has a force?
He has a Mana Leak. That's the only card in his hand I know about. And Ad Nauseam was his draw off the Vendilion Click.
So he most certainly wins.
Wow.
It's a crazy turn of events.
It is. The only problem for Brennan here is if he only kept 1 Chain of Vapor in, if he didn't board in the 2nd Chain of Vapor, when he activates that the Lion's Eye Diamond, he'll discard his Ill-Gotten Gains, his Chain of Vapor will be in the graveyard. So
yeah, so maybe he didn't sign the other copy.
yeah, I think that's why he had to say go here.
There.
I think if he discarded his hand, he would have no way to get rid of that leyline, I think is the problem. But it's pretty unbelievable to me that he wouldn't side in the 2nd copy of Chain of Vapor.
Well, he doesn't necessarily know that there's leyline in the sideboard of his deck. I don't play leyline,
right.
I play a deck.
A lot of them don't. But it is a pretty nice insurance policy to have.
Alright, Brennan going to crack that Scalding Tarn. Probably going to go grab a basic here.
Yep, does not want to get wastelanded. Brennan's deck is set up to have 3 swamp and 2 island. So both of his islands are in play now.
Alright. I don't know, last turn I feel like maybe...
So Cabal Ritual, no Threshold. That will make 3 mana. 1 Storm.
Seems fine.
4 mana, 2 Storm.
I think I want to see if he wants to just Mana Leak this. You know, he kind of just 2-for-1 Brennan by doing that. Not that cards really matter so much in this matchup. It's not.
Ad Nauseam just goes for it. Just puts the Ad Nauseam on the table.
I cannot imagine this is going to resolve.
No, no. Generally letting your Ad Nauseam opponent Ad Nauseam is not a good idea. So that gets leaked.
And that was end step.
Okay.
I like that play.
Yeah. I was indifferent because I thought it was main phase. End step is a lot better.
All right, Lotus Petal.
Storm of 1.
LED.
Storm of 2. And now this is the awkward part. Because of that Thoughtseize, he'll have to use his Lion's Eye in response to his Infernal Tutor. He would love to Thoughtseize Michael, but can't. So now we have 3 Storm, 3 mana floating, and an Infernal Tutor on the stack. And Michael says go ahead.
Now, probably going to be finding a ill-gotten gains here.
And we'll see if Michael can stop him. That's 4. There it is. Ill-gotten gains. Michael will get Mana Leak back. Usually this wouldn't be a problem for the Storm deck, because they would just get a Thoughtseize back and Thoughtseize again, but he won't be able to do that.
Yeah, that's not really going to happen. Let's see.
So Michael discards Brainstorm, Batterskull, Swords to Plowshares.
Did keep in the swords. Very nice play.
Yep. Michael will be returning Mana Leak, Brainstorm, and another card, of course. Only 1 blue mana, though. And we'll return Ill-Gotten Gains, Chain of Vapor. Yeah, I think he must only have 1 Chain of Vapor in his deck. Because there's no way he returns that if he doesn't.
It just wouldn't make sense.
Right. So right now, Brennan in the tank. He knows 2 that he wants. Has to choose the 3rd one.
I like Cabal Ritual. It's a fine choice.
Yep. Has the mana, he has the bounce spell, and he has his combo piece. So is Ill-Gotten Gains not like Liliana? Do they not choose all at the same time? Because the way Liliana works, both players choose and then both reveal at the same time.
To be honest, I'm not really sure how the who chooses what ordering goes on Ill-Gotten Gains.
Right, because it looks like
it's
Michael...
It's been a while since I've played with that card.
Right.
And I know things have changed since then, so I don't want to say anything. Alright, so somebody wants to know how exactly Ad Nauseam works. You cast Ad Nauseam, reveal cards off the top of your deck. Almost every card in your deck costs 1 or 0. You get a massive number of spells, you create really high storm count, and then you cast Tendrils and just kill your opponent all in one shot. Tendrils of Agony.
Pretty much, and the reason that it only has to play 1 Ad Nauseam is because it has Infernal Tutor, which if you're Hellbent, if you have no cards in hand, it's just a Diabolic, or rather a Demonic Tutor. And in conjunction with Lion's Eye Diamond, that's pretty easy to achieve.
I'm surprised he used that Wasteland here to attack with that. On Brennan's turn, if Brennan casts the spell and has the Polluted Delta to pay for Mana Leak, Michael can get tricky and sacrifice his Wasteland, targeting the Polluted Delta, and with the activation of Polluted Delta on the stack, he can Mana Leak.
Yeah.
It's a strong play that somebody can make.
Brennan drew a Duress this turn. A great draw for him. So he'll Chain of Vapor the Leyline, and then Duress.
Yep.
And this is the turn he has to go for it, because he's at 7 life. With a fetch land in play, so really 6 life.
Huh.
I think Michael just lets this resolve.
You kind of have to, right?
Yeah, you... Oh, he'll brainstorm in response.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think both ways he does it, it ends up working out to be the same. Either he hits a force and a blue card or he doesn't in the top three.
Gonna put some cards back. And the rest resolves.
Revealing Spell Snare, Mana Leak, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Tundra. And the extra counterspell might be too much for Brennan. So Spell Snare is taken. And Brennan passes the turn.
And a ley line off the top for Michael.
Which he does play.
Cast the ley line.
And hits Brennan down to 4.
Cracks him down to 4.
Representing lethal next turn.
Yeah, the Mistress Factoring injection with that vanilla click will deal more than 4 damage. Brennan's going to have to do something this turn or he loses the game.
Yep. He did draw an Infernal Tutor this turn. Well, Ritual with Threshold.
That's 5 mana.
Yep. Mana Leak will certainly get paid for. And now it's just a question of whether 3 life is enough.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's not many.
No, he's going to have to hit close to perfect off this Ad Nauseam. Michael says, okay, I've done all I can. 1, 2 life.
Brennan will go 2.
2, 1 life.
Go to 1.
All right. Well, still alive. Useless fetch land. And dead.
And he's dead. Yeah. Michael wins that game, bringing the match to 1-1.
Yep, they'll go back to their sideboards for game 3. I have to imagine Brennan will bring in the second Chain of Vapor now. I think
definitely.
He has to.
Oh, so the player who I called to win the tournament, playing in the feature match right behind Brennan there.
How about that? Is he the one in the blue?
No, he is sort of the black.
Well, best of luck to him. Maybe we'll be able to feature him later.
Yeah, I'd like to. He's playing a pretty sweet Maverick deck.
That deck's really good.
That deck is really good.
I think if some blue could be fit into that deck somehow for Jace, it might be the best deck.
Yeah, I have a really big issue not playing Brainstorm.
Right.
But I mean, that type of deck is a type of deck that I'm very good at playing. Not to like toot my own horn or anything. I like playing like Naya, interactive Naya decks.
Interactive Naya decks that splash Brainstorm and Jace.
I would definitely play an interactive Naya deck that splash Brainstorm and Jace.
That sounds like an awesome deck.
My 2 favorite cards in my favorite archetype. Like, I like interactive Naya decks, but my favorite cards are all blue cards.
Right.
Even though I'd rather be playing a Naya deck.
Well, your favorite cards are all blue cards because all the best cards are blue cards.
That's probably why.
Yeah. If they made a green Brainstorm, that'd probably be your favorite.
Probably.
Well, green Brainstorm would be pretty broken in Legacy, wouldn't it?
Eclipse of Nature is kind of better than a green Brainstorm in a lot of decks. I really like that card.
That card's hard to use, though. You have to build around that one.
Yeah. I think most people don't understand that card either, and then like play their hand like they normally would in a Magic game and don't slow roll things properly. And
well, they have to cast their Lionel Elf on turn 4. Okay, so Brandon Smith on Twitter asks, what happened to No Rug? Did it just vanish from the Legacy scene?
I mean, it's still around. A lot of people have the natural orders in their sideboard now.
Right.
In rug decks. That was something I saw a lot in Cincinnati. It seemed like a pretty powerful thing because people wouldn't really see it coming. You're just a rug delver deck.
Right, and you don't show them the Dryad Arbor.
Oh, here's Progenitus. Yeah. You can even have the Dryad Arbor on your board.
Oh.
If you want.
Perfect.
But natural order decks are kind of becoming more BAMP based usually. Those decks can play Stoneforge Mystic, and as a result, you get more value of cards like Dryad Arbor, like being able to use a fetch land to go grab a body to equip like a Jitte or a Sword of Feast of Him into. That's really good.
Right, especially end of turn when they don't even see it coming sometimes.
Yeah, you don't even need to cast a spell.
Yeah, exactly. Like some people have to read Dryad Arbor, they don't even know it exists. Just don't play around it.
But yeah, natural order is something that's harder and harder to do.
Yeah, it is. It's powerful. It attacks the metagame from an interesting way, but there are just better things you can do in Legacy, I think.
So it looks like William Cow walking away from the feature match. I'm not sure if he won or lost. He's generally a smiley guy, so he had a smile on, but I don't know what that means.
Well, we called our shot with our round 1 winner interview of Dave Sharfman. Maybe we'll have an interview of him.
Yeah, maybe.
So if there are any decks that you guys want to see in Legacy featured in the upcoming rounds, let us know on Twitter.
Yeah, if you guys have like a favorite archetype that you don't get to see that often. Playing this tournament, we have Bronson Magnan. He's a guy who really enjoys Legacy. Legacy's his format of choice. He just won the Grand Prix in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he's battling today. So
cool. I'm sure he'll have a brew.
Well, he usually plays in Legacy Agrolome and like Painter Servant decks, like the red Painter Servant decks. He's kind of very active and involved in the internet and like the brewing community and keeping those decks up to date. So even though he's not playing a rogue deck, these decks are, Legacy's such a huge format that
they're rogue-ish, I would say.
He is like part of the groups that kind of work on those decks.
Right.
And
yeah, at the Star City at the Invitational in Charlotte, I played against an aggro loam deck, and wow, that caught me by surprise. It's not really a commonly played deck. Sort of fallen out of favor, but Chalice of the Void is still a beating.
Very good card.
Turn 1, Mox, Chalice on 1. Go.
All right, and we're off to game 3. Brennan on the play this time. Storm on the play, Dangerous Animal. Michael does not have the turn 0 leyline this time around.
Yep.
And Brennan's going to go fetch up a island main phase. Preordained?
Maybe just playing around Stifle. But
or maybe a Ponder.
Looks like a Ponder.
Another Lorwyn Ponder. People in Florida like their Lorwyn Ponders.
Yeah.
It has the aquatic theme right by the bay here.
Well, there was a lot of Lorwyn released in Florida in general. They actually released way too much of it in the state. That's why you see all the Lorwyn Oblivion Rings too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Now you know.
Did not know that. A lot of merfolk here also.
Yes.
So Lorwyn probably did particularly well here. All right, an island for Michael Caffrey, and Brennan has a Verdant Catacombs for turn 2.
Brennan's hand doesn't look as good as he might like, though he'll do a lot of deck manipulation with these fetch lands, keep only the cards he wants from Ponder, shuffle away all the rest.
And that's a nice thing about Ponder when you're playing fetch lands and, a format like Legacy. You can really, pick and choose the cards you want to be playing with.
Right. So even though you only get 1 draw phase a turn, it's usually a great draw phase.
And Brennan, looks like he has a Brainstorm to go with that polluted delta there, so next turn he'll definitely be able to go for it.
Yes.
And this turn he'll probably thought seize and see what's there.
Yep, and even if that does meet something like a Mana Leak, that's fine, because it did its job. He doesn't have perfect information, but he doesn't need it.
Infernal Tutor gets spell snared. I don't mind that at all. Just run the Infernal Tutor into a counter magic.
No, that's great, because the turn you try and combo off as Storm, your mana is one of your most precious resources, and you can't afford to just spend 2 extra sometimes. So Michael with Surgical Extraction in hand. I would actually like to see him draw step that on Infernal Tutor.
So would I.
Because Brennan casting one? Yeah,
Yep,
there we go.
there we go.
A good play by Michael.
Definitely solid. Michael playing one means he might have another one.
Right. Most likely does have another one, I would say. So Brainstorm in response, he'll put that one Infernal Tutor back so as to not get a card stripped from his hand. The not often seen draw phase Brainstorm.
Not often seen at all.
And Brennan will say thank you for the shuffle effect.
Yeah, and there we go.
So we see Brennan's hand. Lion's Eye Diamond, Thoughtseize, Dark Confidant, Fetch Land, Brainstorm, Lotus Petal. So Michael will take the rest of the tutors out of Brennan's deck. Sees the Karn Liberated. Pauses on Karn Liberated. I'd probably do like a triple take on that one.
Yeah.
Like, wait, hold on. This costs 7? This is Legacy? Brennan only has 7 lands that produce mana in his deck.
Surprised the sideboard that one in. I guess, you know, if it's going to be in your sideboard and you're in a feature match.
Right. You might as well bring it in. Just for pure value.
Yeah.
Turn 1, Ritual, Karn.
Imagine turn 1 a card. This deck can turn 1 a card.
Yeah, there aren't many decks that can say that.
Turn 1 in Karn is, that's good enough all by itself.
Against most decks, I'd say that is. And we'll restart the game.
I'll start with 5 lands.
So now we're about to be in Brennan's main phase. And, I mean, even though his Infernal Tutors are gone, this is still a good situation for him. He'll still be able to Thoughtseize and cast a Confidant this turn.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Things are gravy in the Navy right now for Brennan DeCandio.
Interesting that he wouldn't Thoughtseize first.
I would have Thoughtseized first. I mean,
just in case for some weird reason you don't want to cast the Confidant, you don't have to waste your fetch lands then.
yeah, and also you don't know if your opponent has a Sword of Plowshares in his hand. Like, you saw that he didn't sideboard them all out.
Right.
All right, so he does leave with the Thoughtseize. Perhaps playing around days.
Yeah. Some
That's
sort of weird.
reasonable.
Michael points to the Wrath of God. That's his Karn. So takes the Snapcaster Mage, does not want to get Surgical again.
I agree.
Yeah, that's definitely the right play. Leaving Michael with Brainstorm, Plains, Swords, and Wrath. So all of a sudden this Confidant does not look as good.
The Confidant not the most impressive thing at this point.
Nope, and Brennan just says go. Doesn't want to run it right into a Swords to Plowshares. Maybe wants to wait for another discard effect.
I mean, if the Confidant's able to stick and play and not really get removed, then Michael, will have a lot of trouble
Definitely.
winning the game. It's tough to beat a Storm deck when it's drawing 1 card a turn, let alone 2.
Michael main phase Brainstorms. Looking at land and Wrath of God, putting those 2 on top. Leaving himself with that Swords.
Yeah, and an attack for 2. Gonna drop Brandon down to 13.
Yep, it's really important to pressure these Storm decks' life totals.
Just attacking with a land, it may not seem like you're doing much, but you're actually doing quite a lot.
Yeah. So Brennan draws Dark Ritual for his turn. I wonder if he'll use that Brainstorm. And yeah, he does. He feels like he can't wait around forever.
I like that Brainstorm there. I do.
I think I might have waited 1 or 2 more turns. But as it is, he gets to put 2 useless cards back. And he uses his fetch land. Shuffle those away, he'll get a basic island.
I'm interested to see what he's got for us this turn.
Well, Verdant Catacombs to start. Ooh, almost a Confidant.
Plays the Confidant to the Sword Splashers.
Yep.
Perhaps he thinks that Michael put it on top. Gonna make him
Draw that
crack
card.
that Flood Strand. But
Yep.
Michael's gonna happily crack that Flood Strand and put a land and a Wrath on top of his deck. Which gets out of value out of it.
Oh, exactly. And they'll both use their fetch land at the same time. A little shortcutting.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Make things easier for everybody.
So end of turn. Swords will gain Brennan 2 life, bring him back up to 13, negate these 2 fetch lands that he used this turn.
Sword Splashers, that's a good card.
Yeah, one of the better ones.
Ooh, somebody wants to see Cephalid Breakfast.
Oh, they want to see English breakfast.
Players just want to remind
Full
you that
English
you are
breakfast.
joined by
Volrath
Volrath here
Shapeshifter.
today. They're up at the front of the room.
Oh, does that?
Doesn't really work without survival anymore.
No, it doesn't.
So Michael untaps and casts a Leyline of Sanctity.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, especially without any sort of Infernal Tutor in Brennan's deck. He's going to have a hard time finding all the pieces he needs. He'll happily ship 2 to the bottom with Preordain. Drawing Brainstorm, that's a good draw.
It is a good draw. That's a very aggressive Brainstorm.
Yep.
I do not like that
No
Brainstorm.
shuffle effect. He used a shuffle effect last turn for seemingly no benefit. I'm not sure why he did that. But if he didn't randomly use it, he would have a shuffle effect to go with that Brainstorm.
Yeah, Brennan has been carefully playing around Dazes this entire match, and the blue-white Stoneblade decks do not normally play Daze.
Yeah.
There are fringe versions of the deck that play Daze. Perhaps he plays against a friend who plays the deck, who does have copies of Daze in his deck.
Right, but
So-
really no reason to assume Michael has it when he hasn't seen it game 1 or game 2, and most lists don't play it. So now if he didn't crack the fetch, he'd be drawing 2 fresh cards.
Instead,
Basically,
he's kind of locked himself up for 2 turns.
yeah, exactly. Brainstorm was just a glorified cantrip.
All right, and a Jitte.
And that's going to seal things up pretty quickly for Michael.
Yeah, Jitte can win a game pretty fast.
Yeah.
You know, commonly seen as a card that dominates creature mirrors, or that is good against, you know, strategies that are trying to burn you or deal you exactly 20.
Right. The real, well, I mean, this is the matchup where GT shines the most, like land attacking versus storm.
Yeah.
when you think about it, potentially the best use of GT.
Well, that's the reason why Jitte is so good, is that no matter what the situation, Jitte is awesome.
Right. So Michael just shortcuts, leaves all his lands tapped, leaves 2 counters on GT. Pump, take 5, bring you down to 4. Represent
One more
lethal.
turn.
And look at all these rituals.
I have a lot of mana.
And that's the hand.
Where's my Karn?
Michael Caffrey takes the match 2-1, loses the first game, but as is often the case with a deck like Storm.
Yeah, Storm is probably like top 3 game 1 decks,
Game
probably
one
top
deck.
2